to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga. I'm your host, Wendy Hassenpflug, with my co-host,
Shannon Levy-heath.
And the show's about learning how to truly live your life fully and completely. My passion really lies with teaching other people how to make mind, body, spirit connections that lead to healthier patterns and enhance their lives in a positive way. Our program today is about fostering gratitude in our daily lives. And our guests today are the wonderful teachers from my studio, Vayu Yoga. I have Laure Sears and Terren Burson and my co-host Shannon. We're all here representing my little yoga studio in Newhall. We're going to talk today again about how to find grace through gratitude, how yoga fosters gratitude, give you a few steps to really achieve gratitude on a regular basis, and just give you some tools to just really foster that gratitude. So don't miss any part of our show today. So I'd like to start with our regular exercises that we start with. It's become kind of my little signature. We're going to begin with a breath awareness. So I want you to either stand or sit, no matter where you are. Just kind of stop what you're doing and just give me one moment of your time here. Place your hands at your heart and notice the subtle movement of the breath around your heart center. Bring your mind to someone or something that you're grateful for. And then take a deep breath in. Hold it at the top and slowly let it go. And open your eyes. All right. So now that we're in a more present state of being and we've brought in some gratitude of someone or something that we are grateful for, I'd like to start today by honoring today, which is Veterans Day. And I'd like to start with not only a song that is really meaningful to me, but also a quote. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. John F. Kennedy. I'd also like to recognize some vets among us right now. So personally, my father was a Green Beret medic airborne in Korea, and actually did not go, but because everything finished right when they were ready to send him out. Ironically, the same thing happened to my grandfather on my mother's side, but he was Army, and then my father's grandfather was Army as well, World War II. And I have currently a brother-in-law that is serving in the Marine Corps. So, Shannon.
My father was in the Army Air Corps during World War II. He was a navigator. After World War II, it became the Air Force. He was in the Air Force for 28 years. He was a lieutenant colonel, and he served as the director of personnel at Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Vietnam.
Laure?
My father was a sergeant in the Korean War, and I think he did something with electrical, because he's an electrical engineer. So he was putting up electrical wires and whatnot, but he doesn't really talk that much about it, so.
Okay. And Terren, you said no. All right. So I'd like you all to take a moment today to recognize any vets or people that are currently serving that you know or have known or know of, or just recognize people throughout your day, whether it's saying thank you to them when you see them, or calling them, or posting it on your Facebook or whatever it might be. But take the time to really recognize why we have the freedom we do. All right. I'd like to take that note into finding grace through gratitude. So first of all, the word gratitude and grace, actually both of them, share a common origin, and it's a Latin origin from the word gratus or gratus, meaning pleasing or thankful. And when you're in a deep state of gratitude, you actually spontaneously feel the presence of grace right at the same time. So reflect on this. You, with all of your flaws, have been chosen for this opportunity to consciously taste life, to know it for what it is, and to make of it what you are able. And the gift of a conscious life really is grace, even when your life is filled with great difficulty and it may not feel like a gift at the time. When Henry Thoreau went into retreat at Walden Pond, he and his friend Ralph Emerson, I speak of them like they were, just friends of mine. They had been studying Hindu, Buddhist, and Taoist texts, and I did some research to look into this. I was like, wow, really? That's kind of cool. Anyway, Henry Thoreau wrote this: I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and to see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. He understood by writing that clearly, that conscious life was a gift for which the highest form of gratitude was to really know all of its depths. And this grace of conscious life, of having a mind that can know that this moment is like this, and that's the root of all wonder, and that's where gratitude flows from. So I'd like to kind of go into some personal stories from some of my teachers that are here today, because yoga really is a wonderful tool for fostering gratitude and for creating an awareness of gratitude. And it doesn't have to actually be yoga on a yoga mat. It can be any type of yoga. So our yoga today is going to be the yoga of talking and thinking and appreciating, bringing gratitude in. So I'm just going to open up to my three teachers, and whoever feels like they want to share a story, a personal story of either gratitude that they have found in their yoga practice themselves, or that they have actually witnessed through a student in teaching yoga to them.
I'll jump in. This is Terren. Well, first of all, I have to say my own yoga practice has completely changed my view on my own body. It's really made me appreciate not just what I can do physically, but the limits that I push myself to, and recognizing when I need to stop, when I need to slow down, and that my body is really actually talking to me, whether I realize it or not. My body is giving me cues, and that I'm actually thankful for, because the mind can just keep going, but the body will tell you, you need to stop. So I'm really thankful for my practice for showing me that.
I think actually I agree with you, the same, learning our limitations, because as a dancer, we tend not to stop. We tend to continue to push ourselves beyond what the human body was meant to do. So yoga brings an internal awareness that I didn't always have as a dancer, and allows me to really feel and understand my body in a way that I didn't before.
Well, this story begins not really yoga related, but about 9 years ago, I probably didn't have a lot of gratitude because I was always in so much pain. And as I worked through that and ended up with 2 nasty surgeries, I found that I started to really have gratitude for being able to move, being able to not be in pain all the time. And what ended up happening is I started finding yoga again, and I really learned gratitude through going to yoga classes and going home and working a little bit on my own, and just the whole progress of and process of feeling better. So I really did have a lot of gratitude for the people that helped take care of me, especially my older daughter, Renee. And I just really think that you have to sometimes just sit back and think about what you might be grateful for. Just be quiet and think about it, because it's not always right there.
That's very true. It's not always this huge thing that with a sign saying, be grateful, I am gratitude, hello. And we can be grateful for some of the smallest things in our lives, and that it just makes a huge difference. We're going to talk more about that when we come back. And share some more information about gratitude. Thank you each for sharing that. I'd like to share another quote today. Never in the history of the world has any soldier sacrificed more for the freedom and liberty of total strangers than the American soldier, Zell Miller. Today is Veterans Day, and not only are we talking about gratitude, but we're also honoring the vets and soldiers that are currently serving. You're listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga. For more information about our yoga studio, visit us at vayuyoga.com or stop by our studio at the corner of 8th and Main in Old Town Newhall. I'm Wendy Hassenpflug on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga. I'm Wendy Hassenpflug with my co-host,
Shannon Levy-heath.
On our hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we're talking about how to foster gratitude. Our guests today are my teachers at Vayu Yoga. I'd like to bring us into the segment again with another quote for Veterans Day. True heroism is remarkably sober and very undramatic. It's not the urge to surpass all other at whatever cost, but the urge to serve others at whatever cost. Arthur Ashe. We're going to move into what's called joyful gratitude. Joyful gratitude is the natural sense of wonder that comes from appreciating life exactly as it is. And in yoga, joyful gratitude can be found through breath awareness, through expressive and expansive flowing movements, and through the stillness of gentle poses held without struggle. So as yoga teachers, we're going to talk about what that kind of means for those of you that are like, what is this yoga thing? What are they talking about? Expansive flowing movements, expressiveness. What is this stuff? So I'm going to just ask my teachers a few questions here. So I'm going to put it out there and you guys just kind of step in. Question number 1, what do you love about yoga? So bringing your own joyful gratitude for yoga to mind and use this feeling to guide what you say to us. What do you love about yoga?
I love the sense of awareness and balance, and not just in terms of physical balance, but emotional and spiritual and mental balance that I'm able to achieve, that our daily world and daily lives don't often foster in us.
Absolutely. I would have to say, along the same lines, what I love about yoga specifically, because I've done all forms of exercise and movement, yoga specifically for me, it does 2 things. It grounds me, so I feel very connected to my body and to the earth, but I feel very present in the moment. And you have to be very present in the moment in yoga to not get hurt, to really enjoy and see the full effects of yoga. You have to be present. And being grounded is extremely important these days, because I don't know about you guys, but I get very chaotic with kids and life and jobs and it can pull you in all sort of directions. But yoga really brings you to one point on your feet, on your mat. That's my favorite thing about yoga.
That was really well said.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I love yoga because of the freedom it gives me, because of the freedom of movement, of course. And just it puts you in a place where you talked about balance, and balance is definitely something that I'm always looking for, and being grounded. I have a tendency to I can be all over the place if you know me very well. So grounding is something you really can do through yoga, which is amazing to be able to do that and do it on your own. And then at the end say, oh, look at this. Boy, I love this.
Beautiful.
I think what I love about yoga is that it is always giving. And it doesn't matter where I do my yoga, whether it's literally in the bathroom getting ready and brushing my teeth in tree pose. Like, that sounds weird, but who knows? On vacation, in my backyard, on the bike trail, in a car, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter where I'm doing my yoga. It's always giving back to me, because I'm always grateful for it and listening to it and letting it just kind of move me into what my body needs and listening to that intuition.
I was just sharing with a friend over the weekend that I will do yoga asanas in the airport while I'm waiting to board the plane. And while I'm on the plane, I get up and I go to the back of the airplane and I do some practice, and even in my seat, because otherwise you're just sitting there static.
Yeah.
And with that static air and that static sense. So I don't know if she was amused or what, but she said, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that."
That reminds me, as you said that, of a picture that Terren's mom, Patty, who's also a teacher for us at Vayu Yoga, she posted a picture of her trip to Italy of doing legs up the wall in her seat on her way
On
to
the
Italy.
plane.
You go, Patty.
Why that came to mind.
And
but
that's why we love her, among many other
So
reasons.
good. A circulation. Think of the effects that the altitude and everything is doing on your
Absolutely.
circulation. You do a little yoga, you put your feet up, and you don't have swollen feet when you get to where you're going, you know?
Amen.
I don't know if the person in front of her really liked it, but
Yeah.
that's okay. So here's my next question to you guys. The way to get to what you want is to be grateful for what you have. So can we each reflect on what we have and what we have and what we share about what we're grateful for as a teacher of yoga? So what we have and what we share as a teacher of yoga.
That's really hard. I think what I have right now is a sense of accomplishment. You're always learning. When you're teaching yoga, you're always learning. It was interesting because last night, after I was teaching my class, and then I put them into Shavasana. For those that you don't know what Shavasana is, it's when you're relaxing at the end, very quietly. And I just looked around, and I kind of got a little giddy because I just thought, wow, this went really well. Everybody's relaxed, nobody's moving, and everybody took care of their bodies throughout the hour. So I must be doing something right. So I just really had gratitude for all the mentors and programs that I've, had to work through, and all the classes that I've taken where I've learned a lot of this, and just also with myself. And just a little aside, I always think of Wendy as being a mentor to me. I always love your classes, and just being able to see how you teach has really helped me in my journey as a teacher.
Oh, thank you, Laure.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else want to answer that
Oh,
question?
yeah, sure. Well, I have to say, when I'm teaching, I'm always aware that I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student at the same time. And I'm extremely grateful for these students who put their practice in front of me. They come to my classes. They trust me. They listen. They open their hearts. So I take that very seriously, and I'm extremely grateful for it. Every time my class is in Shavasana, it doesn't matter if there's one person or 40, I say my own prayer of gratitude. When they're in Shavasana, I'm sitting there and I'm thanking them. I'm sending out my gratitude to them. Hopefully they feel that. But, it's like if they feel that you are grateful for them, they're going to feel that gratitude, So, and I've gotten that from my teachers as well. You have to really invite your teachers into your teaching and into your practice.
Stand on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautifully said. And I agree with that. Truly, gratitude for the students, because as we are communicating with them, they're returning to us their acceptance and their gratitude. And I find that I learn so much from my students. And I have tremendous gratitude for that.
I agree. I feel what I have learned the most through the years of teaching movement and yoga in general is that if I come in the right frame of mind and I've really set my energy and my intention for the class before I even start the class, and I start correctly, that we have this energy exchange between the students and I, and we're reflecting one another throughout the entire practice. And one of my favorite things to do is to do kind of an intuitive practice, which I think Terren started to do on Monday night.
Yes.
You come in with no plan at all. You just work off of what the students' energy is giving you, or what their bodies, or what their eyes, or what, whatever it might be. And you work together as student and as teacher throughout the entire practice. So it's a shared practice. And what I found is that I get just as much almost out of being the leader of, not even the leader, the guide on the side, just helping them with, I give them the template, they change it as they need to, but I get almost just as much out of that practice as they do. They're just getting the physical aspects, and I'm, we're reflecting on one another, so we're all getting, as much as we're putting in.
We're getting and we're giving, and
Right.
and there's constant feedback, and it's really, exciting and fulfilling to be in that position.
And
it's really an honor.
And everybody is present. Everybody's
Yes.
in the moment.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I try to really encourage with my students, is to keep them present in the moment instead of allowing the mind to kind of go off on its own course, staying with the breath, staying in the pose. And really, when you're present, you can be grateful for what your body is doing. You can be grateful
Right.
for every breath.
Right.
That's, if you're present, that's when you can really feel it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the grace of gratitude, is that, there is gratitude and grace and gratitude, and all the common thing there is present, being present. It brings on that state of being aware and being present in the moment. Yeah. What were you going to say, Laure?
Well, being mindful, just being mindful, and it's a dance. It really is. Just, if you're teaching a pose, or if you're teaching some pranayama, some breath, and you see certain people aren't getting it, just being able to shift gears and just watching them and seeing how they light up during certain, things that you're doing. So it's just, I know you're a dancer, Shannon.
Yeah. But it is, and truly, I think the practice of yoga has made me a better dancer and a better teacher of dance, because I'm now bringing what I've learned into my teaching of movement and connecting breath to movement. It's a really beautiful thing.
I am so honored to have you guys in the studio today. I get Shannon every single time I have a show, which is wonderful, but it's just so nice to have my other teachers here. It's just wonderful. So I'm grateful for you guys today.
We're happy to be here.
Thank you.
I'm going to close this segment with another quote. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. This is a quote from the Korean War Veterans Memorial in D.C. You're listening to Vibrant Living with Vayu Yoga. For more information about our yoga studio, visit us at VayuYoga.com or stop by our studio at the corner of 8th and Main in Old Town New Hall. We're actually having a tree lighting this Saturday after our Thai yoga massage workshop, so join us. Look into us. My name's Wendy Hassenpflug, and you're listening to AM 1220 KHTS.